Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. PTSC launches new service to and from Orapun. A foundation for the protective services has been launched by the Minister of National Security. And the CPAP program receives keys to its new offices located on Factory Road, St. Madeleine. Thank you for joining us. Communications Minister, the Honorable Jamal Mohammed, says Trinidad and Tobago nationals living in Jamaica remain safe despite the battering of Hurricane Sandy on the island. His assurances come even as Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, says this country will be on hand to lend assistance in any way needed for Jamaica's recovery.
Word coming out of Jamaica is that our brothers and sisters in Jamaica went through a very terrible traumatic situation with the tropical storm / hurricane Sandy that affected them over the past few hours. Word is that all is well to the best of our knowledge, and all of the students, residents, Trinidad and Tobago students who are in Jamaica this time, word has reached us that they're all safe and that they're all okay, and our hearts go out to our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. The Prime Minister is in contact with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, so should in case there's any need from the government and people of Jamaica, we've been full conversation with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and we hope all is well with all of our brothers and sisters in Jamaica.
Minister Mohammed was speaking at the weekly post-cabinet media briefing. In other news, to honor members of protective services who die while in the line of duty and to help their surviving dependents, a foundation has been launched at the Center of Excellence, Macoya, by Minister of National Security, the Honorable Jack Warner.
Minister Warner promises to build a military hospital with Chinese funding, named a day to honor fallen officers, and invited municipal police officers to lobby him for the $1,000 grant given to full-time police officers and special reserve police officers. He agrees to the plea for a plot of land in central Trinidad to build a foundation headquarters.
Therefore, we have to build this for you to give you the kind of respect and dignity and recognition you deserve. And we have the equipment, almost all of it on hand already, given by the Chinese. And the Chinese have agreed to also help us to build the hospital. I asked the CDS to find the land somewhere down in Tetra or anywhere else. But then everybody's coming to Central for land, Mr. Reno. And possibly that may be the best place.
He hails the work of his predecessor, Brigadier John Sandy, in starting the work for the foundation and for agreeing to its motto, honored in duty, alive in memory.
Despite the odds, I have to thank him publicly. And that is why it was passed in Cabinet in June, and by October, here we are, in a country where it takes sometimes years to implement a decision. In 2 months, we're here. In a country, for example, where it takes 24 years to implement a decision to bring traffic wardens, which came when I was Minister of Roads and Infrastructure, was a decision this country took 24 years ago.
The minister says April 26, 2013 will see the first National Security Officers' Day of Appreciation. This day was chosen in recognition of the 4 firefighters and 2 soldiers who were killed in the Camp Ogden explosion on April 26, 1988.
Let that day be one that you plan activity, and you will have, of course, such things as an inter-religious service, an inter-agency parade, memorial inductions. You have your own National Security Awards, and the list goes on and on and on.
Minister Warner hopes the foundation would lobby for change, as he lamented delays in the payment of benefits to auxiliary fire officers due to an outdated system. He invited the foundation officials to make their voices heard at an anti-crime consultation he will host in January at the Center of Excellence. He urged listeners to do all possible to restore law and order in TNT, saying indiscipline is seen even in the protective services.
At the end of the day, I ask the question, why is it you have to wait so long after you have served and put your lives on the line, so to speak? You have to wait so long for your gratuity. And some of you die before getting it. Why? And they tell me that that is the way it's done. I say to you this morning, that is the way it should not be done. And I ask all of you this morning, if it's one thing you have to do with this foundation, and all those terms of reference you read it for us, Madam PS, if it's one thing you have to do, and there'll be others down the road I'll talk about just now, one thing you have to do is to use your influence to bring change.
Minister Warner reacted to public calls for his crime plan. He says they'll get the crime plan as it evolves and emerges, but don't expect any Operation Warner. There's nothing like that. Top brass of all protective services, including Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams and Chief of Defense Staff Brigadier Kenrick Maraj, attended a solemn ceremony to launch the National Security Officers Foundation. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Residents of Orapun now have a new safer mode of transport in and out of the village. This as PTSC launched the service of 2 buses providing transport to Port of Spain from the area. The service is anticipated to provide for over 3,000 residents and comes as a welcome to all those who have struggled to commute in and out of the district.
PTSC is expanding its services by introducing new routes from rural areas to the town. The latest route to be added to the list will see residents of Orapun be provided with transport to and from Port of Spain at a cost of $4 per trip. Brian Winnett, Deputy General Manager of Operations at the PTSC, says the idea to introduce the service was in response to residents' difficulties getting transport out of the Orapun district.
The PTSC had promised, and we are here today to keep that promise. And here it is. We will initially embark by dedicating 2 buses to provide the services during the morning and afternoon peak periods at the most affordable single fare of $4 per ride. I wish to urge you, members of this community, to make full use of this service.
The 2 buses introduced into the area are said to be fully refurbished skeletal buses. MP for the area and Legal Affairs Minister Prakash Ramadar describes the resourcefulness in restoring the buses as a gift to society.
The gift you have given to us today, a gift that really represents what I consider to be the best of Trinidad and Tobago. To hear that you were able to produce these 2 buses out of the graveyard for 1/3 the cost of a new one tells me that finally we have persons in place who care about the resources of this nation, that we get value for the money of the people. So that what you have saved in doing this, you'll be able better to provide in areas that have never hoped or even thought that they could possibly see a bus coming in. I know the villages of Trinidad and Tobago are many. The roads are very bad in many cases and many places. But it is the vision of this government to unite this nation firstly by providing easy access to every community.
The minister took the opportunity to assure residents of the creation of other avenues for entering and exiting the area.
This is a promise for the walkover that we made. And indeed, we've been given fixed dates for that work to have started. And that work is supposed to have started any day now, so that your walkover will be delivered to you, not as a favor to you, but as a necessity, apart from which I find it extremely worrisome that we have one way in, one way out, a community of 3,000. To that end, we've already made representations, as difficult as it might be to provide, but we're looking at that to get an entrance into and an exit out of Orapun onto the highway.
The buses will service over 3,000 commuters living in the area. Resident and chairman of the Orapun Gardens Community Group, Kevin Greenidge, expressed his gratitude for the introduction of the new route.
We, the residents of Orapun Gardens, have been left with a feeling of emptiness and neglect for too long. And the launching of this service here this evening has served to revive new hope within our community. It has given us a feeling that someone cares, that someone out there still remembers and is still concerned for our well-being.
Verna Johnson, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transport, says providing such services meant ensuring a safer option of transport for the public.
Too many of our citizens are dying on the roads of our country, either through vehicular collisions or in attempting to cross our streets and highways. The fact that this new bus service will reduce such hazards to you, the residents of Orupun, it is certainly welcoming news.
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The CPEP program continues to expand. This as the program received keys to its new offices located on Factory Road, St. Madeleine. Opening the office, Housing, Land and Marine Affairs Minister Dr. the Honorable Runal Munlal says the program will soon embark on making participation certifiable through an MOU expected to be signed later next month.
CPEP now has a new home. The Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program received keys to its new office located in St. Madeleine, which will house the expansion of the program as it continues to hire contractors for numerous environmental projects. Housing, Land and Marine Affairs Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal was on hand for the opening and says government is assuring that the program will continue to expand and redound to the benefits of all citizens.
Today we hire over 200 small to medium-sized contractors. When we came in office, I believe it was 106. Yeah. When we came in office, there were 106 contracting companies. Today we have 200 contracting companies. When our detractors said that we would close down CPEP, we would mash up the company, we would penalize and discriminate, we have 200 companies in existence.
The minister says later this year, government will sign an MOU which will facilitate participants in the CPEP program with certificates.
The private sector want workers who are skilled, productive, who have basic training. And so it is my pleasure this afternoon, in collaboration with the Honorable Senator Fazal Karim, Minister responsible for training, to indicate to you that on the 10th of November 2012, we will have a signing ceremony for an agreement between the National Training Agency and the CPEP Company Limited for a memorandum of understanding to ensure that all CPEP workers at all levels are assessed through the workforce assessment centers so they may have certifiable skills.
Chairman of the company, Adesh Devnarayan, says the new building shows that the program continues to grow and expand in the right direction.
It shows our positive development over the last 10 years when this program was first established, while maintaining our mission of working for the nation by protecting, enhancing, and building our communities through environmental entrepreneurship. It is another achievement for the CPEP Company Limited, as it gives us the opportunity to operate in a comfortable environment, which could prove to be very effective in our development.
Chairman Devnarayan adds the company has outlined plans to work with the Institute of Marine Affairs and the Environmental Management Authority in protecting marine life and preserving our ecosystem.
CPEP's intent is to eventually expand this marine initiative to ensure that all our water courses are well managed with respect to debris removal and to make a serious contribution to the reduction in flooding. It is also our intent to work with agencies such as the EMA and the IMA to develop effective education and awareness programs to encourage people to have pride in our waterways and to work with us to ensure that garbage is properly disposed of while enjoying our outdoors.
The new building will facilitate the operational functions of the program, while the head office will soon be relocated at the HDC building located on South Quay. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Education Minister Dr. the Honorable Tim Gopi Singh is reaffirming government's commitment to ensuring all children in Trinidad and Tobago have access to free education from nursery to tertiary, despite where they live.
The Chaguanas Borough has held an award ceremony for students who reside in the borough and have excelled in either the 2012 SCA or 2012 CAPE examinations. Addressing the students, Dr. Gopi Singh expresses his belief that the rural areas, once developed, can bring the same level of success that Chaguanas has given to the nation in so many areas, including education.
Students who attend schools in this area, like all their counterparts throughout Trinidad and Tobago, you have benefited from the People's Partnership government policies and a number of other areas in our education program. It is my plan to not only continue these policies for Chaguanas in the upcoming years, but also aim to provide vastly improvement on services and delivery without our schools, which is bound to redound positively for the people of this new borough, or the borough, as well as the rest of Trinidad and Tobago. For ours is a government which recognizes the significance of developing our rural areas, and this is not considered a rural area, as they all have the potential of attaining similar social, economic, and national significance as Chaguanas has achieved and continues to achieve.
Dr. Gopi Singh insists plans are afoot to construct more than 200 early childhood education centers. This, he says, will contribute to this government's goals to improve the overall education system and the level of success attained by students.
So we have to train 3,500 early childhood education teachers, and we have to build close to 200 early childhood education centers and link with the private sector in another 200 of these centers to fulfill our dream of universal early childhood education, where all 34,000 students between ages 3 to 5 will be in the formal system with a revised and a strengthened curriculum in early childhood education. So you would see the brain power starting from an early age moving into primary school, and where our primary school academic performance will be strengthened, and then moving on to the secondary education at CXC level and at CAPE.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Sport is up right after the break. Stay with us. Vassily Secondary and Debe Secondary will clash for the South Zone BGTT First Citizens Secondary Schools Girls Intercall title. Defending champions Vassily got past Pleasantville 8-1 to advance to the final, while Debe defeated Point Fortin East 2-0 to book their spot. News 4 Sports ventured to La Brea and caught up with the Vassily team as they prepared for the South Zone final. Wayne Cunningham has more.
Vassily Secondary School has emerged as a force in girls' secondary school football. Last year, capturing the national title, and seem headed for further honors this year. Head coach Travis Joseph told us about his team's success.
Well, basically, the bunch of ladies you see behind me is the reigning champions of the Girls Intercalls Secondary School Football League. We have a final, South Zone against David tomorrow, please God. They won the league, and we are defending champions of the South Zone and national champions, as I said before. So we have an session to just tie up loose ends for tomorrow's game.
We asked the coach, how does the football impact the lives of the young ladies?
I see it as a big aspect. It impacts greatly on their discipline in terms of moving forward, not just in the football aspect of things, but they move forward together with their academic bonuses and see different things and acquire different things in their tenure whilst playing football here. There are a few national players on the girls team, on the 17 girls Trinidad and Tobago team, and they get together with the ones that never really played football before, as came about greatly and showed magnific talent in the sense that not only the national girls were scoring goals and bringing us up to this point, you know, some of those who never played before brought us this far, and I'm appreciative of that fact.
One of Vassily's national players is Khadija Deviset. She is ready for the DB challenge.
Yes, we are excited. Although it's a tough game, everybody have to give up 100%. and more commitment, dedication, and discipline, listening also to watch the football to put off a good game tomorrow and be victorious.
Khadija and her twin sister Khadija represented Trinidad and Tobago at the 2010 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. She praised the community for the part it played in their success to date.
The community at Library is more togetherness. When things happen in Library, see everybody coming out more supportive. We as a family.
Coach Travis Joseph is also proud to be Library.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't leave Library for anything, in the sense that the camaraderie, the brotherhood, and anyone could tell you on a Sunday you could go to your neighbor and get food. So I think it's very much nice and fitting that we have a togetherness and a love. Crime, in the sense, is negligible. It's not really a big issue in terms of anything in Library, because I'm almost certain if someone steals something from you, the neighbor could tell you who it is. So I think we in Library here have a nice thing going. Don't need to jinx us or anything like that, but everything is running smoothly for time being.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
News 4 continues after the break. Residents of Sangre Grande are now receiving social services from state agencies. This has been put in place by the Ministry of the People and Social Development's Direct Impact Program.
It's the first time the Direct initiative has reached Sangre Grande, a region the Komoto Manzalina MP Colin Partap says has been deprived and overlooked and is one of the poorest in Trinidad and Tobago.
Although we are poor, we don't ever ask for a hand out. We ask for a hand up. And that is why we are here today, to give services and help the people who really need the help.
At the launch, residents were exposed to a number of services through the TT Connect caravan, among them the TT Food Card Initiative. Social Development Minister Dr. the Honorable Glenn Ramadasing told residents that they should not take opportunities for granted.
Through the TT Connect, you can access your birth certificate to my left. You can also apply through the TT Connect for a beneficiary-owned land subsidy, a first home purchase subsidy, a home improvement grant, and a home improvement subsidy from the Ministry of Housing. You can apply for a scholarship to the Ministry of Public Admin. You can apply to the National Training Agency to be an OJT, on-the-job training. You can do that through that bus. You can apply to the Service Commission. You can access the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, the National Energy Skills Center. You can apply for a job in metal industries.
The minister says he expects persons to start climbing a ladder to success and empowerment.
Your MP did in fact say that some people in this community are poor. But I understand what he means, that they are financially challenged. But I want to say that we in this ministry believe that poverty is not a shame. It is not a shame to be poor. It is shameful when you want to continue to be poor. And it is disgraceful if you make no effort to get out of poverty.
He told those gathered that the programs offered are to empower them so they can make better lives for themselves and their families.
If you remove the door you have in your house and you put one 10 times as heavy, how are you going to open that door? You have to push a little harder. And Black Stalin captured it in a song when he said, "We can make it if we try. We can make it if we try. If we try a little harder, life would be much sweeter."
Through an initiative called HEAL, Healthy Eating, Active Lifestyles, The minister also encouraged the residents to lead healthy lives by eating the right foods. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.